Static buzz in the midnight air. Travic and Spooker in the gamer's lair. Loot drops falling like a neon rain. Pixel worlds driving us insane. Halo rings light up the fight. Sonic speed blurs through the night. Diablo's demons in the dungeon's breath. Path of Exile paths leading to death. Live farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide. Talk of bosses grinding bones. Legends born in gaming zones. Quests that stretch beyond the frame. In this podcast we name the game. Controllers on the heartbeat song. Spooker's laugh keeps the vibe strong. Travic's words cut through the noise. Gaming tales from girls and boys. Loot farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide. Controllers hum the heartbeat song. Spooker's laugh keeps the vibe strong. Travic's words cut through the noise. Gaming tales from girls and boys. The farming gossip in the glow. Digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive. Dead by daylight screams collide.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Loot Farming and Gossip. My name's SpookerHD with the co-host Travic
Hello.
and our special guest, the Farmer.
What's up, guys?
So today we get to dive into your background, Mr. Farmer, and it's going to be kind of an interview, but more of just a discussion. We'll just start off with our typical question we love to ask people, and that is, what got you into video games? What's your first vivid memory that was like, all right, this is the shit. This is what I love. I want to do this. I love it. What was that first memory that sparked that I'm a gamer?
You mean like as a kid, right?
As a kid, like in the very beginning, as a kid, the first time, because you'd be surprised. There's some people that they never actually experienced games as a kid, and it wasn't until they were an adult that they were able to like dive into it and they just found it. But most people have that vivid memory of like, this was the game and it's what it consumed me. And it's like every time I got out of school, it was like, that's what I wanted to do.
Yeah, first of all, those poor souls who didn't get to, run home from the bus stop and then jump online. I was one of them, actually, to a certain degree. My parents are like, they're Chinese immigrants. They're very strict. Like I grew up in a very strict household in a lot of ways when I was a kid. And so I wasn't actually allowed to play video games as a kid. But one of my best friends growing up, his parents were like really chill. Like they let him just play video games all day if he wanted to. And I actually do have a distinct memory of it. I was like 5 or 6 years old. And I went over to my friend, his name is Justin. I went over to his house and he was playing RuneScape. And he showed it to me, and I distinctly remember just being like, this shit is fucking amazing. Like I want to do this all day, every day. And yeah, we played that. It was just like dumb shit. And he actually ended up scamming my ass.
Oh no!
Yeah, because I was better than him. Like I picked it up a little bit quicker than him, and I just figured out like how to like farm gold a little bit more efficiently than him. And I had to log on to his computer in order to play. And I don't know how, like maybe like there was like some cookies or whatever. He just saw me type in the password. Yeah, he knew my account. 15,000 gold, which now is worth nothing. But at the time, as like a 7-year-old, that was like my entire life savings. I worked harder than I ever have in my entire life to get that. And I woke up one morning and it was gone. And I was like, "Do you know what happened?" And he was like, "No." And I was like, "Oh, okay." I never really thought twice about it. But looking back on it, like I was like, that motherfucker definitely scammed me because who else would have done it? But yeah, RuneScape was for sure like the first game I fell in love with. And I mean, did you guys play that as kids or?
I have never had the experience to play RuneScape. I get told every day, almost every day, to play RuneScape. Almost every
You'd love
day.
it. Travic, you would love it for sure.
I feel like it would consume my soul. I really
Yeah.
do.
You gotta
But, like,
have
when I was a kid, I didn't play. Like when I was a kid, it was Diablo 2 and EverQuest.
Diablo 2 EverQuest. Gotcha.
So like I was on the other side. So like while you guys were playing RuneScape, I was playing EverQuest, and then like with my friends.
Mm-hmm. Got you. I actually played Diablo 2 as a kid as well because my brother, because when I was a kid, like Diablo 2 was like when it had just come out, I was like 7 or 8, maybe 10. I forget. I was really young, but my brother was like 15. So like, like game like RuneScape, you can play when you're like 8 years old and like, you can just bumble around. Game like Diablo 2, you're not really gonna pick up that easily on your own. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I had him introduce it to me, and he would just give me gear. You know what I mean? So when he stopped playing, I actually had like this crisis where I was like, how do I get items?
Yeah.
Like I never actually knew how to get items because my brother would just give me the gear. I would go do like bail runs or some shit, level up a character, and then like get bored and like level up a new character, do more bail runs. So yeah, but that was my first love. And the reason why you would love RuneScape, Travic, is because it's really good like second monitor content. It's like you're like an ADHD multitasker. Like this guy can play like 6 games at once. So like RuneScape would be a good like it's like 7th game that you can play on the side,
Did I ever? It's funny you bring it up. Did I ever tell you the story? I used to stream Phasmophobia back in the day as a horror game, like a ghost hunting horror game. And this is how I learned how to do Blight content because Phasmophobia was so boring and it was so easy. I would solve everything in like a minute. Like I would know where the ghost was, what it was doing, all this stuff, and I'd be so bored that I would let Twitch chat sit in the van looking at the monitor to find the ghost while blight mapping on one monitor and playing Black Desert Online on the other monitor because I did all the stuff that you could just like automate. Like blight maps, you built towers. Black Desert Online, you sailed island to island and clicked the taskmaster to barter. So yeah,
crazy.
I mean, shoot.
You'd love it. What's up, Spook?
Yeah, I was gonna say, Darth Microtransaction. He's always playing RuneScape during his stream, before his stream, when he gets off. Actually, it was funny because there was one day. It was actually recently. One day he was. I think we were going over like the new content or stuff like that, or we were getting ready to go over the new content, and he was like, "Damn it, chat! You guys forgot to remind me to start up RuneScape." So he's doing like you said, he's doing it on his other monitor while he's streaming and getting into the content creation universe. For
sure. Yeah, Travic, that would be you for sure. You probably look. Here's the thing: is with RuneScape, it's like PoE. Path of Exile has like that weird rule where it's like you can only have 2 like applications open per computer. Mm-hmm. With RuneScape, there's like no rule like that, so you can have like 5 accounts running at once, and you can just like multitask. Yeah, you would fucking love that actually. I used to do that a little bit. Like I'm not a great multitasker by any means. And I used to do that, and that's like I could feel like the neurons in my brain like splitting apart as I had to like try and think about like 4 different things at once.
Yeah, I like have like EverQuest on another monitor. Like if I'm like over there, I'm like checking it. But I'm not trying to check it, but you know what I mean? Like on my third monitor over there, I actually have like a pet class, AFK grinding in a zone. Like
at all times.
Yeah. A buddy of mine got me re-addicted to EverQuest very recently, and we've been playing together. And yeah, I just have like a pet class on another monitor, grinding him and I like currency and stuff so we can do things.
I would say you could probably compare EverQuest and RuneScape are probably on a very similar level as far as like the different things you can do. So
sure.
So you've been efficient as a kid. You've been efficient as an adult. I need to know. This is a dying question. How did you come up with the name The Farmer? Because I had this crazy thing about your name before I knew who you were, and I'll tell you after you tell me the story of how did you come up with The Farmer.
Okay, sure. So like actually like I was kind of lucky in some ways because a lot of the video games that I was introduced to as a kid were because of like my siblings or like my relatives. primarily just like my brother, my big brother, and one cousin. So like every summer I would go back to China and with my family, and because like all of my extended family lives in China. Besides my mom, my dad, my brother lives in China now too. But as a kid, it would just be us four in the U.S. and everyone else lived in China. So every month or every summer we'd go back for like a month or two. And I had one cousin who was around like 8 years older than me. And he would like in China, there's this really beautiful culture. And I wish that it exists in the US, but it never will because it's just like economically like not feasible. But of this like the PC cafe culture. And every single day, my cousin we'd wake up at like 11 a.m. We'd go to like a ramen shop outside of this PC cafe, and then we'd play Dota, Defense of the Ancients, for 12 hours straight. And I was like 10, you know, and he's like 18. So like there's only so much like a 10-year-old could be doing in like these MOBA games, you know, like playing against like grown men. So he would just tell me to go like into a lane, just like farm creeps. So he would just be like, yeah, go bot and like just like farm creeps. And my dumb ass would just be like, okay, like that sounds like fun. And I would do that for like 12 hours a day. And yes, that's how I kind of got the name XtheFarmerX, because like all I was doing was farming. It's like all I knew about MOBAs was farming. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm an idiot, right? I'm really bad with like putting a face to a name. So a really good example is there's a PoE streamer named Anime Princess, right? And the first time I ever met Anime Princess, I thought it was a girl because it's called Anime Princess. Turns out it's a guy, like a burly dude, like mustache, hair, the whole 9 years, completely streaming for a loop. So when you start streaming Path of Exile 2, a lot of my friends really love your content. They speak very highly of you. They think you're great. So a bunch of my buddies were like, hey man, have you met the farmer yet? I think you guys would get along. And, you know, fast forward months down the road, you and I ended up, you know, shooting the shit. Yeah. So one day, my buddy's like, oh, the farmer's on. You should go see who he is and what's going on. So I like open the Twitch directory, I scroll down, and I scroll too far, so I don't see the preview window. I just see the profile picture and the farmer. And the line of the stream is like learning how to craft, learning how to make mirror. I like learning how to make my first mirror, something crazy. And I was like, oh, that's really cool. The guy's learning how to play the game. And I see the picture of the old farmer guy. And I didn't know that was a meme. I didn't know that was a meme at the time. I thought that was you. So imagine me thinking you're like my grandfather's age, trying to learn to play Path of Exile, and you're just like an old white farmer dude. And stream, and I'm like, that doesn't line up.
I feel like that's a growing category in Twitch right now, like the old grandfather, like the grandma gaming kind of shit.
Right, and that's why I was just like, oh, this is like everybody loves this dude. It's probably like everybody's grandfather, and sure as shit, you are not an old white dude.
That's hilarious. Yeah, no, that's. I should change the profile pic into like a hot Asian girl then.
Oh, so that Jesus.
That's probably the way to advertise the stream the best, you know, if they think, I mean, AP, right? Like a lot of people I'm sure are like, oh, Anime Princess, like what do we have going on here? Let's check out this stream, you know? And they show up, and then, you know, like they watch it and they give them a chance that way. I feel like that, you know, there's a play there.
Yeah. So I had to share that because I told this story the other day and people thought I was lying, and I was like, no, this is, you know, and I use the same example like Anime Princess, and the reason why it came up is somebody's name was just hilarious in Twitch chat, and I don't want to say the name because it was like, you know, I don't know if it's like crossing any lines, but it was like nighttime Ritz cracker or like something like that. And the profile picture is just like this like old like maybe in her 30s like white girl. And I was like, it's so funny because you're naming yourself like Ritz Cracker, and it.
Yeah.
Connect the dots. And I thought it was really funny, and they were like, "That's me, like that's me." I was like, "Oh yeah, I'm an idiot." And they're like, "Did you think like do people not use their own profile pictures?" And then I went into the whole spiel of like, "Well, this is Anime Princess, and this is what happened, and this is my story with the farmer." Yeah,
I feel like most people don't actually use their own.
No, they don't. They don't. Yeah. So
that's hilarious.
That was my sidetrack because it was just a deep burning question of how you became the farmer.
No, I think that's a really cool thing about like, you know, internet culture is that like everyone, you know, it's like most people don't just use their name. I mean, obviously some people do, you know, but I think most people have like a random ass like backstory behind the name that they've like chosen for themselves, like their usernames, right? I always think it's really interesting to see like where those come from for sure. So I definitely get where you're coming from.
Okay, so
although there's some that are just like, what the fuck is wrong with you? You know, like let's get a different name, brother.
Welcome to the internet, though, right?
Yeah.
They always have those trolls. Why don't you share your backstory, Travic?
How I became me?
Well, how you became Travic.
It's boring, man.
But it's short.
Yeah, it's short. I got into the World of Warcraft alpha, beta, like you're talking like I don't know how many years ago this is, right? And I get out of school, I got the email, I'm like, oh my god, I get to play World of Warcraft before everybody else. And I logged into my character and I clicked undead because I wanted to play undead. And I couldn't think, like I'm terrible with names, absolutely terrible with like creative names. And I just hit the random name generator, and I hated every single name, and I sat there for like 10 minutes pressing the random name generator button. And eventually I just got so frustrated, I just hit enter.
And it was Travic.
Yeah.
I thought your name was like Travis or something.
No,
you know?
my name's Arthur.
Right?
That's the reaction I get all. Yeah.
I thought your name was Travis or like Trav.
Nope.
No, I'm John.
Nope. Yep. That's yep. I actually yep.
That's hilarious.
Yep. My
That's fucking.
The realization of what my name is great. I actually went to Spirit Halloween today with my kid, and we were driving to the store, and in the car, my son was like, "Dad," and I was like, "Yeah." He goes, "Your name's not Dad, is it?" And I was like, "I have another name," and he was like, "What's your other name?" And I told him, I was like, "Oh, my name's Arthur," and he was just like, "Are you an imposter?" He's like, "My dad's name is Dad," and I was like, Dean.
That's hilarious. I've never thought of that actually. Like with my parents, I don't think I had a realization. Like obviously now I know their names, but like you're right, because as a kid you always just call your parents like mom or dad.
Yeah. And then my mom, we were in the car having this conversation, my mom called and he was like, "Oh my God, grandma." And I was like, "Ma, why don't you tell Dean what your real name is?" And then he had that like you see like the gears
He's
turning.
Like, no.
Yeah.
You too.
Yeah.
That's awesome. What about you, Spooker? What's your origin?
So,
you scare the shit out of someone?
Actually, yes.
Oh,
So
no.
growing up, there was a trio. My best friend, which became my brother-in-law after a while.
Oh shit.
And my other best friend that we grew up, we were in school, we grew up together. We became a trio. So it was his was Screwball because he was just a screwy oddball, right? So we came up with the Screwball nickname for him. Doobie was the doobie smoker. He was always have a doobie, no matter anywhere you go. Like he's the dude. He's got a doobie. So, and then I was always that one that like I would always like not be where I'm supposed to be, and I'd be like hiding behind a bush or behind a tree, and I would just always pop up and just try and get like the scared shitless reaction out of people.
Oh.
So I kind of got deemed that all right, you're Spooker. So we were Screwball, Doobie, and Spooker was our famous trio. So it's kind of stuck with me. It's funny though because
those are great names, by the way. Those are great, all three. You guys sound like you're from like a TV show or like an anime. Like,
yeah, well, but I didn't actually start using Spooker until, I won't say recently, but the last, when did I say, about 7 years ago? No, maybe not 7, maybe a little bit less. My online internet name started back in, I think, Halo 2, when you had to create your whole unique internet ID. I was Sector, the Mortal Kombat character, and
that's the first thing I thought of when you said that.
So and I was like, you know what, Sector, Spooker. I was like, at least I have a story for Spooker that kind of gives me that background information. Like, all right, like where'd you come up with it? So there that is, rather than just like copying a Mortal Kombat character. But yeah, I went through many different variations of Sector. My dog's name was Sector. My first, so my secret question answer was, what was your first pet's name? Sector. Obviously, it's not that anymore, so no need to try and dox me there. But needless to say, yeah, it was Sector, Sir Sector, and then actually my wife still uses her current name, which is what I switched from most recently, which was Sir Sector and Lady Venom, was our duo internet names.
Oh, cute.
Yeah,
that's cute, man.
Yeah.
So your wife's a gamer then?
Yes, she's a big gamer. Probably not as much as me, but yeah, she's definitely a gamer. She's been playing Apex since it launched, and she loves it. She still plays Apex to this day.
What's that like? I've always wondered. Like I always like my girlfriend's like a complete normie. Like
what do you mean normie?
Like you know what I mean? Like she's just like a normal person. Like how I think 90% of our civilization lives, which is just like, oh, video games are like kind of weird. Like actually our generation, like when we were growing up, like it was like most people like I was playing RuneScape like on the school computer like covering up like the screen a little bit. And people like, what are you doing? You like alt tab really quick like nothing. But I feel like a lot of people, like especially in art, like I feel like kids these days, maybe it's a lot different now. But I feel like with our generation, it was definitely like a thing where like video games are weird. Like you're a fucking nerd if you play it. But it's like she definitely grew up in that kind of environment as well, where it's just like she just didn't play video games ever. Like the first time she ever played a video game was like actually like no, she played like Wii. I feel like it's weird how it is. Like there's some video games that are socially acceptable. Like you can play Wii, you can play like Halo, you can play like
Animal
2K.
Crossing.
Animal Crossing, yeah, like all that kind of stuff, and it's normal. And then you're like, I play World of Warcraft, and people are like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Or like, I play Path of Exile. They're like, what? But anyways, like she's like a complete normie. Like she like the only game she played, I've convinced her to play is like Stardew Valley, Power World, like that kind of stuff. I'm starting to get her into it, but I've always wondered like that must be awesome to like have a girlfriend or like a partner who just like you can game with and like share all these experiences with.
Yeah, well, it's got its ups and downs, right? Like I won't say good and bad because that's just the wrong terminology, but I would say like ups and downs. Like for example, we used to play first-person shooters. Like that was like we played together, first-person shooters. We played a ton of Apex together. We played a ton of Halo Reach together. When I was overseas, we had a room, and I actually had purchased a Halo 5 edition Xbox. So I was playing Halo 5, and it was like as soon as I got done with my shift, it was like get back to my room so I could log on to Halo 5 so that I could, hang out with my wife, which was cool. But now, I don't know if it's just the first-person shooters don't pull my attention as much because either one, I'm just bad and I suck, or two, they're not the same either anymore. They're trying to do too much rather than the just simple like, all right, you got this objective and this team, and you go do your stuff. You don't have to push 14 keys at one time to make sure you can kind of duck and crawl underneath the obstacle without getting shot while people are shooting at you. But nonetheless, she's still into the Apex games, and she's not the greatest. I mean, neither was I. We both sucked, but we had fun, right? She's still on that first-person shooter, which is fine, but I'm just not anymore. So I'm into action RPGs, which she plays Diablo 4 sometimes. But she's more of I'm a casual. Travic tries to tell me I'm not, but I'm a casual player when it comes to action RPGs, and she's like a casual. She just wants to be told what to do, what to get, and the build to follow, so she can just click a button to kill shit.
A fubgooner.
Oh.
Hey, that's what I am. That's honestly that's what I am. I'm a fubgooner as well. Like I like when it comes to like the crafting stuff, I love to like explore different things and like get into the nitty gritty. But when it comes to like playing the game, yeah, for sure. Give me a build that's easy as fuck to run, and give me a guy that tells me exactly what to do, and I'm happy as a clam. I love that shit.
I'll tell you the truth. I'm very similar the same way. Give me a guide, show me how it works. I'll build it exactly how you have it, mess it up, figure out why I messed it up, and then I'll start tweaking it to like the small things that I like. And then it's like, then it becomes like your own little baby, bro.
Sure. Have you done any like build crafting stuff? Like, or not build crafting, like build making, like from scratch?
for all of Path of Exile too.
Oh yeah, you have.
Yeah. Majority of the Path of Exile 2 stuff that I've done has been from scratch. The Blood Rake stuff I copied from a guy off Billy, which he figured out.
Nice.
But like when Path of Exile 2 dropped and Monk came out, I clicked Monk and I turned off like everything except my Twitch chat. And I would just like go and go and go and go. And then I found out like Balor Mage was playing Monk. This Russian guy whose name is slipping my mind was playing Monk. And Milky was playing Monk. And then eventually Snube started playing Monk. And we all collectively came to like the same endpoint. We just went in different ways. Like I went cold Monk, one person went lightning Monk, one went cold and lightning, one went flicker, and yeah, the whole Monk thing I started from the ground up. And point two, I clicked Huntress into the same thing. I knew I was playing Lightning Fury because we talked about Diablo 2, and I knew I was playing Lightning Fury Zon from day one, right?
Yeah,
So like,
yeah, hell yeah.
like as soon as I could put Lightning Fury on, as soon as I got to maps, I put Lightning Fury on, and it was just like figuring it out from there. And I remember trying to build Lightning Fury, and I dropped Tangle Tongue. I dropped Incorrupted Tangle Tongue to like 23% or something stupid, 2 sockets. And I'm like, Twitch chat, this thing is insane. And Twitch chat's like, no. I'm like, dude, I'm telling you this is going to be build defining. I'm telling you what you use. And they're like, no, it's insane. And I gave it to Spooker because Twitch chat convinced me that my build theory crafting.
Fuck, you got gaslit.
Yeah. And I gave it to Spooker, and like 8 hours go, like I log off, I go to bed. 8 hours go by, and I turn on Spooker's stream, like his VOD, to go watch the VOD. I'm curious how he's doing with it, how the weapon goes, and he gives it away. But he gives it to our mutual, which is fine. So like our mutual buddy has like this 23% Tangle Tongue 2 sockets. And I get a DM as I'm watching Spooker hand this item off. I get a DM. Tangle Tongue broke the game.
Oh.
Like you remember? I'm sure you remember.
Yeah.
And I just sat there and I said, "Motherfucker, I knew it. I was right." And you're watching all these videos of people playing with Tangle Tongue and then maths coming out and how Critical Fork's working. And I'm like, all right, what do I need to know about this weapon? And my buddy was like, 23%, 2 sockets. You're gold. You're gold. Rewinding the Spooker stream of him handing it away to somebody. I just wanted one of these. You take your glasses off. I said, I fucked up. Oh my god.
Yeah.
Little did he know, I gave it to the mutual to return it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got you. Okay, that's good. Yeah, because that was like an overnight thing. Actually, it's actually funny because a lot of my chat is Asian, so they actually in Asia they knew that Tangle Tongue was like broken like 1 or 2 days before we kind of figured it out over here.
Yep.
And people in my chat were like, Tangle Tongue is gonna be broken. Like there's like a bugged interaction with like Fork Crit or whatever like that. And then I was like, oh, okay, like. Listen, I'm a Fubgoon, all right? When Fubgoon says Sea Glass Sphere, I'm buying this. Like, I'm crafting Sea Glass Spheres, But yeah,
we
told
him about the shield, the helmet, the swaps, the spear. He said we're doing it wrong. We told him.
Fubgun did?
Yeah, he said Trav's doing it wrong. We don't swap to the spell damage, all that bullshit. We use the chicken leg. Yeah, we.
Oh, yeah, the threaded light with the helmet. Yeah. That shit was broken.
Yeah, we did that, and we told him, and he watched my video on his stream. He said to you, "No, you're wrong." He said the chicken leg's better.
Ew. Yeah, that's rough. Because the chicken leg was giga expensive. I remember that because I was flipping them because there was like, in Path of Exile 2, there's like a market there for like just voling items that I feel like people don't really touch for some reason. But like because vols are good. Like what? 50% of the time in Path of Exile, like it's literally a coin flip of like you either just make the item like way better or like, I mean, actually with unique items, there's like not even a downside, right? Because
you just click it.
Strangle Divine, or you add an implicit,
or do nothing.
You add in socket.
Yeah, you can't
or do nothing. Yeah,
you can't turn it into a rare. Like that system needs to come to Path of Exile 1, but.
I agree.
That's tracking. That's going in a whole other direction. But no, there's no downside in PoE 2 to like val everything.
Yeah, for sure. And that's actually like something that I was worried about, was because like after playing PoE 1, I was like, cause like this last time in 0.26, that was the first time I really played PoE 1 like seriously. And I was like, oh shit, like you don't like really start playing the end game, like the Giga Juice stuff, until you have at least like a mirror. Like you're gonna need like a mirror weapon, or you're gonna need like a mirror like helmet or whatever to like really get like the, like to be able to do like the what's it called, the blights, for example, to be running like Giga Juice blights. Like I had 2 mirrors and items, I was still getting shitted on in blights.
Skill issue.
No, let me tell you, the blights, it's like if you don't do enough damage to kill the mobs quickly enough, what happens is there's so many mobs building up that like your PC just T-pose.
Oh,
and, like,
yeah, well that's not even the PC though. I proved that wrong too. Yeah. I think Travic proved it wrong too on stream. It was like I pulled up my task manager and put it on the stream, and I was like, look, my GPU's at like 50%, my processor's at like 65%. Like it's not my PC.
That's a good point actually.
Handle it.
But like what I was saying though is just like it's like, I think it's really cool because it feels like the Mirror of Kalandra is like such an iconic item in Path of Exile, but in like to the extent where like even someone like me who like never really got to experience anything with mirrors or anything like that, I just knew it was really rare. Like I have this kind of like legend idea of it, like this fabled mythology of like the Mirror of Kalandra, like holy fuck. And then in PoE 2, it's like there is that value of like this is very, very valuable. Like I was checking it the other day, like mirrors are worth like 4K divs right now.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy. But the thing is though, is it's like it's actually, you don't actually ever want to mirror items almost in Path of Exile 2, because if you get a mirror tier item and mirror it, it's actually worse than getting like a slightly worse mirror, like less than, like still very good item, but not mirror tier, like not perfect, and then volleying it for like a implicit on like a ring or an amulet, or like an extra socket on like an armor. You know what I mean? So it almost like it was kind of, it feels bad in Path of Exile 2 that like the mirror is like almost like unusable right now. You know what I mean?
I have a friend who in PoE 1 right now has 50 mirrors. Like if I showed you a screenshot of his tab, he's got 50 mirrors. Like the guy's really good. In PoE 2, same thing. He just crafts. And he would link me these 6 modded straight across the board perfect tier 1 items, and he was like explaining how omens are working. And funny enough, he learned from watching your videos on how to craft. And he said the same thing. He goes, mirrors are so worthless because like even somebody like Belton, who just spends all of his time making mirror tier items, just vows everything at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And until there's a reason to not do that, there'll never be a reason to mirror items, because there's like this whole like weird discrepancy where like, oh, Path of Exile 2 doesn't have crafting, it's boring, it doesn't do like PoE 1. But the reality is in Path of Exile 2, it's so much easier to make a perfect 6 modded item. And
because of the omens.
And people refuse to accept that like, are omens actually the best thing that's ever happened to the game, and they just don't want to accept it.
I think omens are really OP for sure. Yeah, no doubt about that. And I think this league, I think crafting in PoE 2 is going to be actually like very broken. They added a few things from Path of, like straight up 1-to-1, you know, added from PoE 1, like some of the most broken things. Like for example, like Hinakora lock, right? Like I think we can all just know for like, especially in PoE 2, it's gonna be broken, right? Because like the end goal of every item isn't just to get like 6 mods perfect, right? The end goal of every item is to corrupt it perfectly. So now you can get like the mirror tier item and then guarantee the perfect corruption for it. You know what I mean? But even more so than that is like the Veiled Exalt that they added, which is even better than the Veiled Exalt in PoE 1. Because in PoE 1, when you Veil Exalt, it's a 50-50 that you, not 50-50, but you have to remove a mod. And oftentimes you were going to be going for a 50-50, right?
Right.
Whereas in PoE...
One sec, before you continue on. For the people like me that are more casual, I understand what a Veiled Chaos is, but explain kind of like the big difference between what's coming to PoE 2 and what the PoE 1 does, just so that we kind of get a background of understanding.
Sure. So in Path of Exile 1, like one of the most valuable currencies, it's like Mirror of Kalandra is number 1, Hinakora lock is number 2, and the Hinakora lock, it just allows you to like see what you're gonna do ahead of time. So like if you click a Vol Orb, it'll show you this is what will happen to you if you click it, and then you don't actually have to click it. So it's like you get to do it without, like you get to try it without actually doing it. It's broken. Right. And then like the third most valuable currency right now, I believe, if not the third, it's like up there, is the Veiled Exalt Orb. And what the Veiled Exalt Orb is, it allows you to do is it allows you to add a veiled stat on it. And as you can see, like in the PoE 2 trailer that they, or like the PoE 2 like stream that they had, that's what the Abyss currency does. It gives you that, like, you know, like that, those weird like hieroglyphic text there, and then you can take it to that weird ass fountain, and then you can like use it on the fountain, and then it'll give you like 3 options to pick from. That is exactly how it works in Path of Exile 1, except like we don't know the mods, but like the reason why it's so broken in PoE 1 is there are specific veiled mods that you can only get through veiling, and these veiled mods are generally like, I wouldn't say like they're OP, but they're very good. They're better than normal mods are,
veiled mods
for the most part. Yeah. And from the way I saw what they were doing, it looked like, so in Path of Exile 1, one of the huge downsides for veiled currency is that it's either veiled chaos, which completely rerolls everything, right? Which you can kind of bypass by doing like the prefix, like the crafting bench shit. Yep. But the veiled exalt, which is the most expensive one, it has a huge downside of that you add it's essentially like a chaos orb from PoE 2, where like you remove a mod and then you add a mod. So like the net number of mods is the same, but it ends up becoming a really big downside because like you only do this at like the end of a craft. So, or like towards the end of a craft, right? After you have like 3, 4, 5 mods on there. Yep. So what ends up happening is you have to like oftentimes like do a 50-50 or like a 1 in 3 of like removing a good mod. And then like, you have a chance of removing a good mod, but you also have a chance of removing a shitter mod. And like, if you remove the shitter mod, then you're good. And if you remove the good mod, start over, that kind of thing. And from what I saw from the stream, there is no like downside of it. You just add that OP suffix. So theoretically what you do is you just get to the 5th mod, like you craft 5 mods onto an item, and then now you can just add that 6th guaranteed veiled mod on there. And then of course there's still some RNG of like which of the, if you get like the 3 good ones to pick from, but it looks like giga broken. For example, veiled exalts right now in Path of Exile 1 are worth like 50 div. So it's going to be insane. Like the PoE 2 crafting is going to be really, really nuts this league.
I mean, the crafting's so crazy that you could just like veil your own character. like they showed us we could just like take our character and jump it into the pond and find out. Yeah.
What do you think that is?
I don't know, man. Can you imagine if it gives you stats or passives or like
it's the secret cow level,
or like, oh my god, there's so many things, man.
Like, do we think that like when I first saw that, what immediately came to my mind was like that's how you get to the boss. Like that's how you do the boss fight. But like that would be kind of like mid, you know? Like that would be like a mid solution to it. I hope it's not that. But that was like my first thought was, okay, you jump into the pool and then you fight the boss there. But I hope that it's something cooler than that. Like you do get an extra passive or something, but it's gonna be really expensive.
He mentioned in the video that it was going to do something with our character, and he said we'll leave that to you to figure out.
I'm hyped for that.
Yeah, I can't wait, dude. I'm excited in my mind. It's like, it's so bad because like PoE 2 showcased so much cool stuff, and like I'm a big PoE 1 enjoyer, right? Like my entire career is PoE 1, right? But like I just want to play PoE 2, right? Dude, I don't even want to like log into anything else.
That's actually funny that you say that, because I feel like so many PoE 1 players like hate PoE 2. Like they hate it. And I don't get why. Is it because like all the dev time shit, like where like they feel like what's the deal with that? Because I feel like for example, like what you said before, which is just like something that I hear all the time is like PoE 2 crafting Omega Lol, and it's like I didn't really understand that. And then I played PoE 1, and I understand it a little bit more. Like PoE 1, the crafting systems are amazing, but at the same time, it's like, for example, like when what we played growing up, Diablo 2, like crafting systems in Diablo 2, where like you put a perfect amethyst into your cube with like an amulet, and you fucking pray you hit the +2 skills with like the FCR, like all that shit, right? Like that, and like that's crafting, and like no one bats an eye. Like it's RNG, but it's like I just don't get it. It's like, can't we just accept that like it's just different systems, and it's like what you expect is different, and it's like, yeah, like PoE 2 is slower, but it's like everyone else has to play by the same rules, so it's like I don't really mind that it's slower. Or like the crafting, sure, it's not as deterministic, but everyone's playing by the same rules, and there's still like, I mean, as you can like, I've made my whole like Path of Exile 2 career off of like crafting or like just finding like, what would you call it, like at small advantages in the system, which makes it so that like, yeah, you can't deterministically craft like this gear, but there's still a lot you can do to like play the system and make it so that your gear is better than everyone else's, and then therefore you can sell it for more expensive and make a ton of profit doing that. Like, why do you think it is that like PoE 1 players like hate PoE 2 so much? You know,
there you can. I think we both have an argument for that, but it's really, in my opinion, more your personal preference. I think a lot of PoE 1 players, they like the fact that if I farm up this amount of currency, I can almost guarantee that I'm going to be able to craft exactly what I want and make it exactly how I want, right?
But you could do that in PoE 2.
I know, I'm getting there. But in PoE 2, there's no straight line from one start to the other, right? There is a lot more RNG in it, right?
Travic is activated.
I totally understand, but this is my perspective on it. Is that I think the people that know this, right? The people that do these crazy crafts, they've found, like you said, the loopholes, the way to strategically, deterministically craft it, right? So they don't know how, and I think that's the biggest issue is the knowledge for PoE 2. Even though there isn't as much of a crafting system, people just don't know that you can craft these said perfect items. It's just not knowledgeable enough for them. And in my opinion, in PoE 1, they make it easier to say, hey, I got my item this far, I can kind of save it in a sense, right? Like you can imprint your items, you can lock prefixes, lock suffixes. You have these ways to where you can like, you got these markers to where you can set like, all right, cool, here, I have it saved at this point, now I just have to work on this other portion of the item. And I could be wrong, but I don't think that we have anything to that spectrum to be able to do in PoE 2. It's like, yes, if I spend enough currency, you can obviously get any item in the game you want to exactly where you want it. Like I could just, I could hit this two-handed mace with enough chaos orbs, and eventually I'm going to get 6 T1 affixes that I want on it. May take me 45,000, but I will eventually get exactly what I want.
I think you're actually right about that. That's one thing I think having actually played PoE 1 now, I definitely agree on that. Like that is the case where like it is like what Travic is probably going to say is you can definitely craft your own items in PoE 2. The issue is that like, for example, like this most recent patch, it made like omens a lot more accessible. But like before that, it used to be like 20 div for a whittle in the middle of the league or something like that. Now it's like 5 div for a whittle and like 4 div for the dextral annulments and the sinistral annulments, that kind of stuff. But I definitely think that like what you're saying is very legit. It is hard to kind of self-craft your gear, like and like deterministically get to where you want to go towards the end game. Whereas in PoE 1, like a lot of like the top tier players and streamers will oftentimes be like crafting their own gear and like making their like, I mean, like when I played Path of Exile 1, I was crafting like 90% of my gear was just self-crafted. It was cool to do that. But here's one thing that I don't get about this argument though, which I think is totally legitimate, what you're saying, Spooker, is that even though everything is so deterministically craftable in Path of Exile 1, no one self-crafts. You know what I mean? Like the top players do, or like the streamers do, and that kind of stuff. Like the majority of the players are just buying the gear that I craft. You know what I mean? Like I would say 90% of players are just buying, like even at the high end stuff, they're just buying like 100 div, 200 div gear. Like I sell so much of that in the early mid league, and it's like my knowledge of Path of Exile 1 is like this. You know what I mean? So it's like it feels like there is truth to it, but I feel like for the most part, most people aren't even like taking advantage of these systems. You know,
that's market driven though. NA doesn't like to craft. That's the problem. NA doesn't like to make their own stuff. NA would rather just buy it. It's the NA mentality of like, I could just get money and buy it, screw making it. But
Got you.
there was a tweet from the old community manager. So I don't know if you knew who Bex was back in the day, but Bex was the
yeah.
Okay. Bex tweeted when Path of Exile 2 came out because she was already working for another company and there was all that hate. Bex tweeted and said, and I don't think a lot of people read this, and I'm going to paraphrase because I don't have the tweet in front of me, but she said Path of Exile 1 has 10 years worth of knowledge behind it. 10 years worth of the community coming together and figuring out every nook and cranny. So when a new system comes out, you have 10 years of driven knowledge that attacks it at its forefront.
Yeah.
Path of Exile 2 is 8 hours old.
Right.
And Path of Exile 1 players, myself included, went into PoE 2 with PoE 1 knowledge, and it was wrong because it's a new game.
Right.
So the example that we use a lot in my community is elemental attack damage on weapons. You know, that line weapons gain, like 100%. Yeah. You would never put that on a weapon in PoE 1.
Why is that?
It's bad.
Yeah, it's just not good. It's not a good affix. There's better affixes. There's better affixes, yeah.
Like, let's go back to like Monk or Huntress, right? The Sea Glass Spear. You made it triple fizz, right? Like you'd go fizz, 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 right? That's the logic in Path of Exile 1. Like fizz weapon is fizz roll, fizz roll, fizz roll, because you convert fizz to cold and then you scale your cold and fizz and conversions. But conversions in Path of Exile 2 are a completely different system. So we would make like percent fizz, percent wed, and then like flat X. And that would be better than anything else.
Sure.
In PoE 2, when we started playing Monk in Season 1, we figured out very quickly wed was insane. And people were like, but so-and-so told me that fizz roll is better. And we didn't have Path of Building at the time because Path of Building didn't exist.
Right.
We, as soon as I dropped my knowledge, like, oh, maybe what I learned in PoE 1 isn't going to work in PoE 2, you started to realize it's a whole different ballgame. And like, as somebody who comes from PoE 2 into PoE 1, I'm sure you've noticed many things that work really well in PoE 2, but don't work well in PoE 1 because people are unwilling to adapt and learn to a new system. So a lot of the, but crafting's bad, or this is too slow, or this feels bad, or this and this and this and this. If players looking at it from like rose-colored glasses of like trying to see PoE 1 and PoE 2, they never wanted a new game. They just wanted PoE 1 with better graphics.
Right. Gotcha.
So like all these people who are like, oh, Path of Exile 2 is going to solve all of our problems, never got the solution they wanted because they just wanted Path of Exile 1 on a new engine.
With WASD.
Yeah. Well, actually, I love WASD. I get told all the time I'm a fucking idiot for liking WASD.
Wait, WASD is like superior. Like this is like there's no downside.
Yes, I
agree. There could be an argument against that.
You're old.
What do you mean?
Get over it.
Every speedrunner.
Yeah.
Every speedrunner uses WASD. It's like so efficient.
I love WASD, okay? I won't argue there, but I'm an old man. I use my hands all day at work, and when I get home, it's like I still use it, but yeah, it just puts extra wear and tear on your fingers, and it can be a royal pain in your ass. And the longer you do it, there's some days where I just have to say, nope, I got to switch.
I'm not gonna lie. I think I'm. Oh, sorry.
No, I was just saying it just sucks.
I agree with that actually, because I'm not gonna lie. I might have to plug in the controller for this next league. I'm serious. Like these old man hands, like they can't take it anymore. Like
that's not a WASD thing. That's a Path of Exile problem with how much clicking they make us do, how much extra shit we have to pick up. It's not at the end of it is like our hands hurt not because it's a WASD problem. Our hands hurt because the nature of the game forces you to make these weird movements.
Right, because it's the WASD on top of the 6 skills that I have to use simultaneously with each other while trying to use WASD. So yeah, makes sense.
Yeah, I think when they implement, because like actually like controller, I think is actually better because this is weird. This is a weird take. I know it's gonna sound bad, but when I was playing Path of Exile 2, I was doing like the zero to mirror challenge. I was playing a lot of like just mapping, like that kind of shit.
Mm-hmm.
And from my experience, controller was actually a much better experience to do maps and stuff with, especially with like certain skills. For example, like lightning spear, right? Because it has auto aim. So you're not like moving your mouse you're not like moving your mouse all over the screen, like click on things. It was like really simple like play pattern. You're just like running around throwing the spear, right? And what I figured out was that like my conclusion was just that controller was like a better experience mapping, but the issue was that like the inventory management shit and like the interfacing that you had to do with the controller is like 2 billion times worse. That even though it's in my opinion better for like certain parts of mapping, the other stuff, it was just such a drawback that it's like way worse. But not this patch, I don't think. I'm pretty sure they said that it's not going to happen this patch, but maybe next patch they're going to implement some sort of like combined interface where you can use like mouse and keyboard and controller at the same time. And I think that would actually have some potential.
Yeah,
100%. And honestly, like that's actually a good point to bring up is the whole controller and keyboard interface. With PoE 2 being so new and innovative, right? You know, bringing WASD into the action RPG genre, I was actually shocked that they didn't get rid of that whole I have to log out if I want to switch from controller to keyboard. I've never I can understand that. Okay, you can't use both at the same time. I can understand that. Do I agree with it? Hell no. I should be able to use, because I actually have this this project that I'm supporting it's basically half of a controller. So what you'll be gaining is that whole concept of a controller in your left hand, which will be much more ergonomic for you as a player for any type of video game that you want. So I'll be able to use half of a controller in my left hand rather than a keyboard, and I'll be able to use my mouse with my right hand. So you get that whole.
Oh, I like that. That's
whole,
a cook.
Yeah, dude, it's been cooking for like going on like 4 years now that they've been
like
working
you're building
on.
that. Like
they're building it. Yeah, they're building it from the ground up,
shit.
and it's called Hex Evo. If anybody wants to look into it, they're still working on it. I think they're trying to I think they have what are they, prototypes and stuff out that they're testing, and I think they have the last design locked in that they just need to get out the door. But yeah, dude, I'm so excited for that because, like you said, man, these old man hands, they just can't handle that shit anymore, and that's gonna be a game changer. It's gonna be a game changer
for sure. They really ain't what they used to be. But wait, so I don't know about you personally, Spooker, but like Travic, I know you're like a PoE one, like you like that's like where that's where you've been for a long time. But you are like one of the few PoE one like content creators and people in general that seems like you might actually like PoE 2 more than PoE 1, or like you might like it at like similar levels.
No, I like it way more.
Oh, really? Like,
way more.
Explain why though. Like, I'm actually so curious because every PoE 1 like veteran I talk to is always like super negative about PoE 2, and I feel like this kind of created this like dynamic right now where it's like it's either like it's like tribalism, right? Like either you love PoE 2 and like fuck PoE 1, or like you love PoE 1 and fuck PoE 2. Like it's the stupidest shit ever. Like every single video I have, like that there is like a comment like fight going on in there being like, oh, PoE 1, like you like PoE 1, like you like clicking like a billion like shards or some shit, and then like, oh, PoE 2 crafting Lamal, like why do you like PoE 2 like you said better?
Okay. So it starts at like the weirdest of things, right? So when I play, and this goes back, Diablo 2, I only click assassin.
Trap?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I only click assassin. And I always wanted martial art assassin in Diablo 2 to be good forever. I always wanted martial arts to be good. I love the idea of Phoenix Strike. I love like the Jade Talon design. I love the kicking and porting. Always wanted to be good. Years later, Diablo 2 started to make, and these mods started to make Assassin really good on the martial arts side of it. Even in Project Diablo 2 now, like martial arts Assassin is one of the best things that you can be doing. And I love that. I love the feel of a character like that. And then D3 came out. And when D3 came out, I only clicked Monk. I only clicked Monk because it was the same kind of playstyle. It was that whole martial arts, that whole like assassin style from D2, so forth and so on. So when Path of Exile came out originally back in the day, I tried to find that assassin type character never existed. When Path of Exile 2 came out, that was Monk. So right then and there, that game just, for me personally, had the class that I wanted to play.
Got you.
That's step one. Step two, it had WASD. I love WASD. I think WASD is fantastic. I love the look of Path of Exile 2. I think the graphics are infinitely better. I think the feel of the game is better. I love the movement of the game. I actually enjoy some of the combos, not all of the combos. Eventually, I devolved into like Lightning Spear one-shot everything or Tempest Flurry one-shot everything, but it's still a cleaner looking environment. If I were to turn on Path of Exile 2, Path of Exile 1 right now and log into any number of characters that I've played this league, it is a hodgepodge of reds, blues, and purples, and I follow and play the entire game looking at the X on the minimap. I never look at my character. I never look at the screen. I follow the X on the minimap. At the current highest levels of juicing, granted, it's not a whole lot of high level juicing in Path of Exile 2, I can still, watch my screen. I can see my character. I can see the movements of my character. I can see and feel the weight of the explosions without having to like look at a mini map. Like, granted, you still have the overlay open and you still play with the overlay open, but you can see the game and you can feel the game.
Have you played a fire build?
First, yeah, they're great. They're great. And then at first I didn't like the crafting system. And then after I like watched a couple of your videos and I talked to my buddy MB and I started to like really understand what was going on, I like omens. I think omens are some of the most busted things we've had the opportunity to play with. And I'm sad I didn't do them more. And this is like one of those knowledge things. I also love learning a game from the ground up. Like, you are never going to get to experience Act 1, 2, and 3 the way we did when Path of Exile 2 launched, right?
Yeah.
And now I have so many people telling me, oh, well, I can't wait to get back to Endgame to make currency off the new auction house. And I'm like, I can't wait to get to Act 4 and try it for the first time ever.
Yep.
Right.
I'm not blitzing Act 4. I'm getting to Act 4. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to enjoy it. And then there are things like the interludes. Like, they get to experiment with interludes that may never be the exact same way they are. And it's just this whole world of learning a game from the ground up and watching it evolve. And then sure, it has its problems, like towers suck. Like, we'll all agree towers suck. But you get to watch the devs hear negative feedback in a constructive way on the forums and from players and content creators and stuff like that. And note, I said constructive, not like game sucks because bad, but like it's bad because I don't like this feeling of it and this doesn't do that. And you watch the devs, like in the PoE2 last reveal, Mark and Jonathan were like, it's bad. We agree. It doesn't work. Like, we're changing it. And you're watching this evolution of the game. And granted, I didn't pay the $30 to get into early access because I've bought in microtransactions over the years. But every day that I play Path of Exile 2, I look forward and wake up to see if my build was deleted. I think that's the coolest feeling in the world. Did I find something and did I do something that broke the game so much that it's acceptable?
Got you.
So like
You're a tinker.
So every morning we woke up and the bell on Monk wasn't changed and Monk itself wasn't changed. And we woke up and it wasn't nerfed was a good day. And the days that it was nerfed and all these players like, you just don't understand, my entire build got burnt to the ground. I'm like, you should be happy because it wasn't working. It wasn't as intended. They know it. They're fixing it. They're updating it.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And you just see so much more loot and so many more items and so many more combinations of things. And then everybody's like, oh, there's no build diversity. Path of Exile 1 has all this build diversity. And I'm like, does Path of Exile 1 really have build diversity? And everybody's like, of course it has build diversity. I'm like, does it actually have build diversity? Is there really build diversity in Path of Exile 1? And everybody's like, yeah, I can play this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And I'm like, but doesn't Path of Exile 1 just devolve into the same 5 builds? Like, you were saying it earlier, you need mirror tier gear to do this stuff. But in Path of Exile 2, I can go play Lightning Sphere. I can go play ED Contagion. I can go mess around with Cold Snap. I can go mess around with Warrior. I can go mess around with all this other unexplored stuff that just hasn't been explored. But everybody's too quick to jump to, oh, just equip those same gloves that everybody's using. Or, oh, just do this one thing that everybody else is doing. But to me, I see a game that is unexplored and has so many ways that we can just find new cool stuff, and it's just enjoyable. It's just way more enjoyable than just, I'm gonna blast the maps to farm my mirror, to blast the maps to farm more mirrors, to blast the map to farm more mirrors.
That's very cool. Yeah, you're right. That's interesting because I feel like I'm in the same camp as you. Now that I've played PoE 1 and 2, like I kind of came to this weird conclusion. Like, I think it was like this morning or last night, I was thinking about it and I was like, I think PoE 1's a better game. Like I genuinely do. I think it's a better game. And like you said, for whatever reason, it's like 10 years of extra dev time, whatever. I think PoE1, like I'm a PoE2 player, right? Like if I were to like to classify myself as like PoE1 or PoE2 player, I'm a PoE2 player, right? But I would say PoE1 is just a better game, and I had a lot of fun playing it. And like some of the highs that I had playing PoE1 are great, and like the mobility feels so good, like the abilities are so powerful, and like the end game content is like so replayable. Like I could play maps for like I mean, I played maps for like 150 hours, 200 hours for like over the last 2 weeks, and I had a lot of fun doing it. It's great, but I realized I don't know why. I think like PoE1's a better game, but for some reason, like I'm more excited to play PoE2 than I am to play PoE1. Like, and I if I could only play one or the other, I would definitely pick PoE2, and that's why I wanted to ask you, because I couldn't really figure out like why, and I still don't really know why.
We're not in a disagreement. I fully agree with you that Path of Exile 1 in the current state of things is the better game. 100%, hands down. Every reason in its mother that anybody listening right now can come up with, yes, Path of Exile 1 at the end of the day will be the better game in terms of maps, itemization, whatever you want to say. But I agree with you. I just want to play PoE2. It's maybe because it's new. Maybe it's like, maybe the honeymoon phase of a new game.
Yeah, sure.
True, but it's more than just a honeymoon phase, right? Because it's going to be over multiple honeymoons, and I think that's why PoE2 is so hyped for us three. I mean, we're not speaking for everyone, but for us three particular, I think that is the case. It's that PoE1 is, and I won't say always will be, because I really don't believe that, but PoE1 right now is in a better state because they have it's 2025 and it came out in 2012. So 13 years of content and development thrown into a system that they care about, right? So we can only expect that PoE2 not only will become as good as PoE1 over the time and content added to it, but it will become better because they can mess with new things. They can try new creations. They can just do a lot more things on a new engine with new ideas that they can experiment during this honeymoon phase that we're going through right now. Multiple honeymoon phases, because like Travic said, we can log in on Friday, right? Next Friday, we can log in, and the build that we wanted to make, like we're like, oh, we theory crafted this great build, is just complete garbage. It's like, yeah, it don't work anymore. Not that it's can't be made to work, right? Because we can adjust it and adapt. Because there's 100 new notables that they said they're adding.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Like multiple clusters in every zone. It's I just had a buddy while we're recording this right now just messaged me, and he goes, Volcanic Fisher Invoker Monk, am I crazy? And I was like, this is what we see these like live stream reveals. I don't know about your community, but I've had more people who have been diehard PoE2 haters come out after the last reveal and say, maybe I was wrong.
Yeah.
Maybe. So I don't know.
Yeah. But also something else I wanted to throw out there too is like you were talking about build diversity, right? PoE1 does have build diversity, right? PoE2 does have build diversity. It all depends on who you ask and who you're talking to, right? So PoE1 has build diversity, but if it has such a build diversity, like you said, why are people still clicking the same 5 builds to farm this giga-juiced content, right? And with that being said, my argument is a lot of people say we need build diversity. We need build diversity. I truly don't think that that's the case. I actually... talking to DM, Darth Microtransaction, he brought up a very valid point. I don't think even the average consumer wants build diversity. I think what we want as a whole is if we played this build last league, for example, say we played these builds in 0.2, okay, well, 0.3, we want those builds to be tuned to now we have new builds that are going to overperform those, and more of a meta shift, which I think is what made Path of Exile 1 so successful, is that these nerfs and buffs to different things after the league has made it so successful, is that they're not necessarily giving us just like build diversity. They're shaking up the meta, forcing us to create new resolutions to new problems that they create or new difficulties that they bring to the game, you know, giving us that shake to where we feel like we have diversity, but in reality, they just shifted the diversity that we have access to. So instead of the same 5 builds this league, right, we're just going to shift to a different set of 5 builds in this next league when they drop.
I don't know.
No, I think you're.
The Blood Mage Rake shit looks like it's going to be just fine.
Oh, I think a lot of builds are still going to be viable, if not even more powerful than they were. And I think that's probably, in my opinion, that's one of the things that they do need to work on is in the end game. I believe we need that challenging content, you know, where the average player isn't going to be able to accomplish it without help. You know, whether it be paying somebody for the service to do it or paying somebody to craft us the gear, like you said, through trade, you know, instead of making it ourselves, have somebody craft it for us. I think that's one of the reasons that makes Path of Exile 1 so good in my eyes is there's certain content that, I could fork out the hundreds of hours it would take to learn it, like the freaking Maven fight. I love trying the Maven fight. I still have yet to get down that stupid Simon Says bullshit. So I just say, hey, I just say, hey, here's
Target and buy a $10 Simon Says, you'll be all right.
No, I hear that for sure. That's a really good point, actually. And that's something that that's like the one thing that I was really disappointed about with this. And I mean, obviously that they could, depending on how like the Abyss system actually shakes out to be, it could fix this problem entirely. But that was something that like the one thing that I was disappointed about with the patch reveal was just that they didn't really include anything for the end game. And I feel like that was the one part of the game where I felt like that needed it the most, right? I think the crafting systems were like fucking insane. Like I don't think there's a single person out there who thinks like the crafting systems that they're introducing are bad. And like the perfect, for example, like the perfect currencies. That shit is the most fucking login thing I've ever seen. That helps. That's gonna make crafting so much better. Especially because like when you like layer, like you said with PoE 1, it's like whenever they add a new currency in PoE 1, it's not just like, oh, now we have this. It's like now we have this on top of this, and this. You know what I mean? So like with the perfect currencies, it's just gonna be making it perfect currencies plus like omens plus all this other shit together. It's gonna make crafting so much more accessible. And it's actually like 10 out of 10 for me. I think 10 out of 10, like the campaign's gonna be 10 out of 10 with the new act, with the interludes, 10 out of 10 there, 10 out of 10 on the crafting, the auction house, or it's not auction house. What would you even call that? Like
it's a bazaar.
Asynchronous trading.
Yeah, bazaar.
Bazaar, sure. But that's last epoch, right? Like they have a similar system there.
Well, actually, it's because I'm playing EverQuest recently, it's a mirror of EverQuest because in EverQuest I can pull up the menu in game, search for the item, and then go to the player and click on the player's vendor and buy it from the vendor. So it's literally just the old school EverQuest system.
Got you. Yeah. I mean, I think like literally every change they made, it was like perfect for me, honestly. The only issue was like the changes that they didn't make. And like, sure, like it would have been cool to have a new class. But like I'm like, you know, no new class, it's fine, right? Like I don't really care about that because it's like, as long as there's like different builds you can play, like if you have new builds, it's the same thing as like having new classes in my mind to a certain
degree,
right?
Yeah.
Yep.
But the fact, like, and I hope like this is probably the strongest copium that I've ever huffed in my entire life, is that there's still 7 days. You know, like maybe they do like a tower change, or maybe they add something that like we're not aware of. But I think the lack of end game right now is definitely going to be a struggle, and not just lack of end game, but like also lack of end game like chase items. Like in Path of Exile 1, right? It's like I was like, oh, I really want this mirror wand. Like it's got like a bug abyss socket in it. It increases my damage by literally 80%. Like I'm so pumped for this mirror wand, but it's going to cost a mirror. It's expensive, right? So it's like, why am I farming these blights and like actually causing my PC to like fucking take off into the stratosphere? It's like I'm farming this because I want, like I have this goal. And in Path of Exile 2 right now, it doesn't feel like there's that goal. Because if you remember in like point 1, or was it maybe even, no, definitely not in point 2. In point 1, Temporalis was like, you get Temporalis and it changes the way you play the game. You are just fucking blinking like on, like literally no cooldown blink autobomb, right? That, like people were saying like that's the most fun they ever had in any ARPG was playing blink autobomber. Or like when you had the Tempest Flurry build, once you got the Astramentus, it was like, boom, like you now have like insane mobility, and like that's what you're farming for, is to get there. And once you get there, you can play the game in such a different way that it's like it's now just fun to play the game on its own, because it's like you're playing Earth or you're playing PoE on crack, right? But it feels like there's two ways to solve the end game problem. It's like you either give chase items that like people like, you know, we work really hard to get, and we farm for, like if it's like 5 div an hour, 10 div an hour, whatever, it's like in the back of your mind, you're like, I just need the temporalis. And like I it's like the journey is way better than destination. Oftentimes you get to the destination in ARPGs and you're like, okay, this is where I like I play a new game now, right? It's always the journey that's the best. And you fix that journey problem by having like these chase items that are like giga hard to get, really expensive, or you fix it by having like a really like difficult end game that like you need a lot of other like rare gear or whatever to get to. And right now it feels kind of like, okay, you get to the end game, and if you have 100 div worth of gear, 50 div worth of gear, which honestly good players will be able to get easily in the first week, if not the first 3 days, right? You can clear all content. And on top of that, it feels kind of like, not only are like the chase items not there anymore, like the temporalis, they gutted it. Astramantis, they didn't gut it, but they gutted the build that did use it. And they also like fucked the rolls really badly, which honestly, like I don't even mind fucking the rolls. That just makes it an even better chase. But my point is, they also, sorry, what I was trying to get to was they buffed tier 0 uniques. I'm not sure if you guys were playing PoE 2 still when they did that, but they made it so tier 0 uniques are way easier to get now. So for example, the what is it called? The Ring of Calandra's Touch, right? Before they made the buff, it was 120 div. This was like mid-league, okay?
Right, yeah.
After the buffs, literally 2 days after, it had dropped down to 15 div.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I was actually going to ask if you stayed a large majority in point 2, because when PoE 1 updated and came out, like I swapped back to PoE 1 because, you know, it was all the hotness, and as a, you know, primarily at first PoE 1 content creator, I wanted to give the audience what they wanted. But I've heard that point 2 midway through is doing exactly what you said, where it just like changed the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, I said this like when that patch first came out, I said like this shit is so much fun. You're dropping tier 0s like candy, but I don't think this is good for the longevity of the game, right? Because it's like if everything is too easy to get, then like there's nothing worth getting anymore, right?
Right.
And I was similar to you, Travic, or maybe I played a little bit longer than you, but like when I played PoE 2 up until the last day, or like maybe 1 or 2 days before the PoE 1 launch came out, and then I swapped over to PoE 1. And a lot of these changes happened like 3 or 4, maybe like a week before the PoE 1 launch. And I was actually thinking like what they're doing here is actually like giga smart if this is what they're trying to do, which is you give people who are playing PoE 2 like this last 1 week hurrah, where like you're just dropping loot like candy, and then you're kind of burnt out from it, and you're like, okay, I've done everything I wanted. I had like this dopamine blast. Now I'm gonna go play PoE 1. I thought that's what they were doing, and I was kind of hoping that they would revert the tier 0 unique changes. But I actually think that they just want tier 0s to be a lot easier to get, which I don't know if it's like a good call, because I feel like if everything's too easy to get, then it's like, what are people farming for in the end game?
The same thing that you're farming for in Path of Exile 1. The Headhunt, like Tainted Oil is the same price as Headhunter.
Yeah.
Well,
like in Path of Exile 1, you're farming for like the mirror items.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
maybe the knowledge that we have as players is just isn't there, and we're not making the gear to get there. But it comes down to what you said. There's no end game to make the gear for.
Exactly. Like in Path of Exile 1, like even if you didn't have like the mirrors that like the mirror items that you're chasing the mirror, it's like you still have that content that's like incredibly difficult to do. Like Alva, like the Alva incursion shit, to a certain degree, right? It's like you need to have a lot of gear in order to run that. Also, you need to have a good PC, but like the blights, like that kind of stuff, or like delve, like void maps, like that kind of stuff. Like you need to have like there is no limit to the amount of investment that you can have that's like still meaningful. You know what I mean? Like you can I mean, like obviously it's like marginal or diminishing returns in terms of like the more gear you have, it'll reach a certain point where like the next upgrade you have is a lot less valuable. But it just feels like in Path of Exile 1, it's like there's there's just so much further that you can go in terms of like how like strong the content is that you're facing. Whereas in Path of Exile 2, there isn't really that. And I think what I was trying to say is like there's kind of 2 levers here, which is like make the end game harder, which is they should definitely do, but also make the items that you're chasing after a little bit more expensive and a little bit more difficult to do or more valuable. Yeah.
There is a world where the Abyss. Oh, I didn't mean to cut you off, but there is a world where the Abyss does that.
I'm praging.
Right.
I'm actually praging for that so hard.
I'm not against that. I'm totally for that. 100%. I would go for that, but I don't think that that's going to be the case. Not in terms of like I would say the top 1% of players, which I would consider both of you guys in that, because you guys play. You have a lot of time to play. You have a lot of investment. You have a lot of knowledge. You have all that good stuff. So
we live in the game.
Correct me. Yeah. Correct me if I'm wrong though. When EA was launched, I won't say launched, but a little bit short of EA launching, their goal was to launch the base game, right? Just the game. There was no end game anticipated for it. They just wanted to give us, the axe, the campaign, and that was it, right? Yeah. So what I think, which is a smart move, is what you're experiencing. It's too easy. There's no chase items. I completely agree with that. There's no argument on that behalf, but I think that the scaling of the content that's currently in the game is probably not going to be adjusted until further down the developing timeline. And for this reason, and probably this reason alone, if those chase items are unobtainable for people, for the mass majority of people to actually get their hands on and experience and test with it, they're not going to get that critical and crucial feedback of how those items interact with many different builds. Yeah. So again, back to the whole scale of 13 years of PoE 1 being built up, I think that PoE 2 is doing it very smart, that yes, a lot of it is going to be overly accessible right now so that they can get everything worked out, get as many of the kinks knocked out, and then closer to launch, they'll actually start giving us more of a scale to scale that end game further and higher. Maybe we'll get like the different tiers of Ubers or something that will, like you're saying, give us those chase items, give us those more difficult fights that we actually need to invest a lot of currency or time into making these items or builds in order to accomplish said task. So I think the availability for closer to the casual player like myself is going to be better in long-term effect of the developing of the game in a whole.
I think that's a really good point, actually, because if you think about it, like the average player, like people always talk about like the average player, and like the average player is like someone who probably has like 5 divine net worth, right? Maybe even less, right? Over the course of like a month. Whereas like the players that we see and interact with are usually like the fucking sweats, like me and Travic, who are just like, you know, we're inside of our computer screens for like 14 hours a day, 12 hours a day. And like, we also know how to min-max the systems perfectly. And yeah, like I guess like what like the changes that we're talking about are mostly for those players for sure. And I actually have no clue what the numbers would look like. Like realistically, like is it like 10% of players are even like making it to the point where they have like 50 div, or is it like 5%, 1%? I don't know, but that's actually very like a very good point. Which is like I was thinking, because the argument that I was going to make was, in a way, Path of Exile 2 is almost like suffering from success in the sense that like it is an EA game, but like they did so well with it that no one considers it an EA game, and no one holds it to like the EA game like standard, it feels like, anymore. Yep. People just like, they want it to be like Path of Exile 1 in terms of like how in depth it is, and they want it to be like that now. And I kind of am like that too. Like I don't really think of it as like an EA game anymore. I think of it like like most EA games are fucking shit, and most games right now that aren't even in EA are launched like they are in EA games, like they are EA. You know what I mean? Like think of like Cyberpunk and shit like that. It's like so many games are just being launched like incomplete, unfinished, that like PoE 2 in comparison feels like so much more fleshed out. And like as a result, I think a lot of the player base holds the game to like that standard of like, it's so good, like who cares if it's EA, like we still expect it to like have certain like things that like maybe I think that you're kind of bringing up might not actually be fair, and also might not actually be catering towards like the majority of the audience, right? Like how many people are actually killing like are actually able to farm tier 4 Ubers or farm tier 4 Zesh? I actually have no clue about that, but I would imagine it's a lot less than what I would think.
There was an old statistic that GGG gave us once, and I can't find it. I'm looking for it now. And I'm trying to find the achievement list for Path of Exile 2 because most people play on Steam. But at one point they told us, and I could be wrong, but at one point they told us, I think it was like less than 10% of players ever made it to maps.
Interesting. But like that also is like that's it. Like that's one of those, like, statistics are so hard, right? Because like that statistic in itself is like less than 10% people made it to maps, but it's like of that, like 90% of people who didn't make it to maps, how many people actually just like quit the game? You know what I mean? So it's like, what part of that statistic actually represents like the actual player base that is continuing to play the game, right?
I
'Cause
think
you'd
they said
imagine,
that.
like, probably.
I think
Oh,
I think
really?
they said that when they said that they took those numbers into consideration, and they based it off of the people that continued to log in. They didn't count the numbers of people that like they just quit. They stopped logging in, they stopped playing. It was literally less than 10% of the people that are continuing to play.
Damn, that's actually crazy. 10%
Mm-hmm.
of people made it to maps. Do you know how deep into the league it was? Was it like week 1, or was this like 2 months into the league, or like?
I'm looking at Steam for Path of Exile 1 at global achievements. Now, this doesn't include base client players. I don't know if you play on base client or not, but I play on base client. And according to achievements, 2.6% of all Steam players have killed Maven. 3% have killed a Breach Lord. 3% have killed Sirius. 3% have killed a Zeri.
Now,
Oh shit.
those are going to include players that quit.
3.8% of
true.
players complete every map on the Atlas. 4% of players killed the Eater. 4% killed Exarch. So these are just Steam numbers.
Yeah. That's what I mean. It's so hard to say, like,
Mhm.
what it would actually look like because of like the confounding variables and stuff like that. But I think Spook, you're making a really good point. Is that the majority, and I think that's what Travic is getting at too, is that the majority of players, like casual players,
Mhm.
like Spook, you consider yourself a casual player, but in reality, like if we looked at it statistically, you'd probably be like a top 1%er. You know what I mean?
I tell them that same thing.
Like easily a top
Not top
1%er.
1, but I definitely would say top 10. But I can only say that because of the knowledge and stuff that I've gained through the community in the last.
Sure.
Oh,
Yeah, but
it
that's
was
all of us. So I wouldn't
Yeah,
be
me
anywhere
too.
near where I'm at if I didn't have people
Yeah.
like I've been blessed to talk to some of the smartest people in the game. Like,
true.
you know, like even now, like the three of us have different ideas that we can like completely learn off of each other for different things. So like, you know, it's a community game, man.
Well, I'm also the one
Yeah.
that's stubborn, and Trav will completely back me on this. Is like, just click this and do this, and you'll have no problem. And I'm like, no, I want to click this and do that, and I do that. I'm the non-meta Andy. Like I'll see a meta build. I'll like when what was it, the slashing twister build in Path of Exile 2, right, with the Huntress. When that was like discovered, and a lot more people started doing it, that's when I kind of stopped. Like I was doing it, I was enjoying it, I figured it out, and everybody will say, well, you didn't figure it out, you copied so and so. Everybody gets to point B by starting at point A. How we get to point B can be completely different, right? But the reason that everybody gets to point B is because, well, you either found out that was the best point to be at on your own, or you found it through somebody else. Regardless of how you got to point B, there's a reason why most people get to that point B.
Sure.
But anyways, where I'm going with that is that when everybody started doing that was the meta build, right? And that's when I was like, okay, well, now I'm gonna go do something else, even though I could just
like, fuck
continue to
that.
do it. Yeah, because
Sure. That makes sense.
It was the same reason I started my hardcore journey on the warrior, right? And not only did I start it on the warrior, I started it using armor, because everybody said warrior bad, and I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna do warrior then. I'm gonna show you. I'm gonna do my best to show you that warrior's not bad. And then two,
Yeah.
what's the worst defense is right now? Okay, well, everybody says armor bad, armor sucks. Okay, all right, so I'm gonna do a warrior, and I'm gonna be armor based, and that was my hardcore journey start. And honestly, it was great. And it wasn't too much later that Travic, you found a a crazy warrior build that like literally just deleted bosses and cleared screens away, and that was awesome.
There's a guy on Billy that was playing a warrior build and one tapped the entire game.
Wait, how do you research on Billy? I'm assuming you can't read Chinese, right? You just translate.
I cannot read Chinese. I have a lot of friends that can read Chinese.
Oh, got you.
So I get messages from people like I don't know if you've seen him, but one of Local Hall's closest friends and top mods is a guy named Guitarholic.
Uh-huh.
And he just sits on Billy all day. It's a white dude from London.
Damn.
And he just translates everything all day. That's all he does.
Damn. Man learned Chinese just to fucking cook up, get the freshest Path of Exile 1 build tech.
But we've known this forever, right? We know that like KR, Russia, Europe and China have always been ahead of the curve in every game.
Well, yeah, because they play about 25 hours a day, 8 days a week. They should be, right?
I know we make the jokes, but like it's this like weird reality. Like
they put in the time
earlier.
Like you said earlier. Instead of building my build, why build it when I could just pay somebody else to do it? And I think that's
the NA mentality.
It's a mentality thing, and nothing against Americans or any race. I'm not being racist by any means, but people on the Asian side of the planet, they put in the work, they learn, they figure out the mechanics, they break said unbreakable things just to prove that they can break it or do it. And it's I love that mentality. Like that's what I strive to be, is I want to be that person that can put in that time, put in that work, and actually make something before others.
I love that.
But yeah, we just have a lot of friends that, like, I used to have an old buddy of mine, and he would scout the KR forums on Path of Exile, like the actual Path of Exile forums for KR, because I guess they openly use the forums in class discussion for what it's meant to be used for, and they share ideas and builds. And he would tell me that he would just go on there and he would like link me old threads like 3 or 4 leagues ago of him going onto the PoE website, and you would translate these threads, and it was like tech that hadn't made it to NA yet. And then like a week later, Americans would start using this like newly discovered, back when like Grimro and shit was still around.
Oh, I remember him actually. But he was like a British dude, right?
Australian. I think he's Australian.
What happened to him?
Burnout. Div per hour burnout.
Got you. Fair enough.
Yeah. Div per hour gets everybody at the end of the day.
Couldn't read Chinese. That was his issue.
Now I know what's on my to-do list.
Yeah. I'll tell you, I spend a lot of my, like, not a lot of my time, but like if I'm like building something and I hit a wall and I like start doing research on how to like get over it, I will look to see if any of like the KR or Russian players are playing when I'm playing and what they did different.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's the first place I go is like in PoE 0.1 when Temporalis Autobomber was a thing. Everybody played it on Blood. Like, I think Fubgun played it on Blood Mage or some shit like that. And I was also going to play it on Blood Mage because we both had the same document from the same KR player who posted on Billy. And I looked at what the Russians were doing, and they were playing it on Stormweaver.
Interesting.
Yeah, so like I knew Fubgun was putting together the Blood Mage version, so I copied the Russians.
Oh. Shit.
Yeah. So like they knew all that tech like a week before all of us.
Damn.
Yeah.
I need to get some fucking Korean, Russian, Chinese friends.
Well, okay, so like this league, right? Like this league, for example, the Alva stuff, right? The Alva and breach farming stuff. One of the first people that I saw doing it was Sakaiba.
Oh shit.
Like Sakaiba 9, like the guy the Russian guy.
Yeah.
Oh, where'd the KB build come from?
Russian guy?
The Russian guy.
Shit.
Yeah.
All right. I actually know a couple Russians. So this league might be my league.
There you go.
Oh. Yeah, just something to think about.
Yeah, for sure. That's crazy. I'm surprised that like they don't. I'm surprised that they give that information out so like easily, you know, like they're just putting it in forums. They're not like, you know, like gatekeeping
okay.
it.
So the stuff that's gate kept is like the
Duping.
shit that you're not allowed to do. You know, the stuff that we won't advertise here, right?
Yeah. Got you.
That stuff's all kept tight behind closed doors. But outside of NA, like they share everything. They'd rather like if we figure this out together and everybody benefits from this, we take advantage of everybody benefiting from it. Which is one of the reasons why, like, when I'm told like stuff, if you don't tell, like if you came to me tomorrow and you're like, Trav, I got this really cooked, cracked farming build, we should do it. And you don't say specifically to me, don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
We're gonna tell people.
Everybody gonna
right?
know.
Right.
Because you like it's a community-based game at the end of the day, right? Like I remember, and like a lot of my content is driven around this. I remember the days of not having 5 div to my name. That's why a lot of my content is like tailored towards like newer players. I never want to be the guy that can't make 5 div, and I never want anybody to feel like the guy that can't make 5 div. So like I spent a lot of my time teaching people to not be that person again. So yeah.
So speaking of teaching players and what you do, and that's, you know, kind of how you got into your career and path choice into the Path of Exile. How did you, Farmer, how did you get into, you said you're relatively new to streaming. How did you get into the whole Path of Exile streaming career and the world of Ray class? What got you into that journey of going down that road?
Yeah. So I don't know, like I like, for whatever reason, I was always just like attracted to like the like economies in video games. Like RuneScape, for example. I would be like the goblin who like wasn't actually playing the game and was just doing trades and like that kind of stuff. I don't know what, like I think maybe it's just because like I kind of realized early on, like any game that has an economy, like the actual best way to make money is almost always to play the economy and not to do like whatever high level farm. It's always to just like play with the economy. So I specifically in Path of Exile 2 tried not to do that, and I was like avoiding it. I was pretty much SSF for the most part, and then I just and I actually like discovered through a Captain Lance video. He was like explaining like weighted sums, and I was like, holy shit, this is so broken for like finding items that you want, because it's not just like if you type in like 2 or 3 stats, you can only find 2 or 3 stats. But if you type in a weighted sum, you're gonna find like, I mean, the way the math works is it could be like, you know, hundreds of iterations of different combinations that have the same value. And it just opens up your search pool by so much. And I was just doing that, and I was like trying to buy. I was playing Spark, right? It was Spark Mage. It was on launch, right? It was the first patch, and I was just trying to like find a wand that I could buy. And I was looking at the weighted sum, and I was like, okay, like these all like look the same. And then I realized, oh shit, like if we like a lot of these have the same weighted sum, but some of these have open affixes on them, right? So, which means that like we have a chance where we can, these are all the same costs. So if I buy a wand with the same cost with an open affix, I can just buy that wand in Exalt Slam. And if I hit, there's a chance that like the weighted sum goes up, like the value of the wand goes up.
Yep.
And I just kept doing that until I got a wand that like I thought was good enough for myself. And then I actually got like so lucky that like I bought like a, you know, a half a div wand, and I Exalt Slammed it twice, and I ended up selling it, or I ended up creating a wand that was worth 25 div. And I was like, 25 div is way too good for me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to use this shit.
Right.
So
right.
I might as well just sell it to someone else and then buy like a 5 div wand. You know what I mean? So I did that, and I was like, okay, well, if I'm just going to sell it to someone else and buy a 5 div wand, I might as well just like do this a couple more times. And I did that for like literally like a week straight. And I made like 5 mirrors or something like that doing that. And I just ended up like making like a video on it, and it did really well. And it's funny, I was actually before I started streaming and doing Path of Exile stuff, I was actually like an aspiring like TFT. Like, have you guys ever heard that game, Teamfight Tactics? I was in like an aspiring like TFT like esport pro. Like I was playing in tournaments and that kind of stuff, and I'd done like decently, but like not like, I would say like I was like top 25, top 50, like that kind of like professional level. Like not like the best, but definitely like one of like good, like very, very good. And it just so happened that Path of Exile 2 launched in between like like in the off season of TFT essentially,
Right.
where like you'd finish the world championships and then they do like PBE, which is like the practice server where they let you test out like the new set. And then it just so happened that it was like maybe like 2 weeks in between the end of the last season and the beginning of the next one, especially like the competitive stuff. And my friends were all playing Path of Exile too, and they're like, "Dude, you should play with us." And I was like, "No, I'm gonna get too addicted. Like, I got the new season going on, blah blah blah." And anyways, I ended up playing, and I did all that stuff, and I was like, "You know what? Fuck it. I'll make a video on this, and if it does really well, like if it does really well, I'll consider playing Path of Exile more and like making more content on it. And if it doesn't do well, I'm just gonna go back to TFT and like and grind the new set." And I posted the video, and like in the first like 12 hours, it only gotten like 2,000 or 3,000 views, and I was like, "Ah, fuck this." Like, or like not like this. I was like, like fuck, like it didn't work out. Whatever. And like I'll just go play TFT, and then like funnily enough, I'm a pretty good like online poker player, and I was just like playing online poker for like the weekend, and I was like making a lot of money, and I was like, oh, maybe I should like play some like poker more or whatever. And then my friends were just like, hey, like you should check your video, like it like you should just check your video again, like it's doing a lot better or something. And I checked back, and I was like, holy shit, it has like 50,000 views now, whatever. And I was like, all right, fuck it, let me give this a try, and like I'll make more content because I can do this again with other stuff, blah blah blah. And I just kept making videos, and they kind of kept doing well. And then I started streaming a little bit, and I started building a little bit of a following that way. But it was really just like a kind of a lucky situation where I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna throw a stone in here, and if it like lands well, then like I'll like run with it. Yeah, I'll throw it up. And if we get a bucket, we get a bucket. If not, you know, there's like I had another interest that I was going down, and yeah.
Hey, man.
You and I have the exact same story.
Oh really?
Almost down to it. Yeah, I was a horror game streamer forever. I did horror, and I went from horror to ARPG.
Damn.
And I was quitting streaming, and I was done. I was like applying to jobs. I was on my 4th interview with a company, and I was like, well, if I get this job, we're out. Like, we're done. So long. See you later. Yeah. And Local Hall and Guitar Holic during Calandra League told me to put the idea that I had for Path of Exile, because I wasn't a Path of Exile streamer at the time, I was playing Lost Ark, to put my Path of Exile idea into YouTube and see what would happen. Because I loved Calandra League. I thought Calandra League was great. So I put a video the last day that I was going to ever stream, the day that I was quitting. I was going to like do my stream and then be like, all right, guys, you know, lights out. See you later. Shit. It's been fun. I released this video, and midway through my stream, I went from like, because I used to have a lot of viewers when I played Dead by Daylight, like a lot of viewers. I got partnered playing Dead by Daylight. And when I went to Lost Ark, I went from like 100-something people. And even when I played Magic the Gathering professionally, I had like 100-something people. I went down to 4, right? So like you can't pay your bills on 4 people.
So right. You're OnlyFans.
Yeah, but that wasn't a thing at the time.
You could live good.
Yeah. And I just like you, I Hail Married a video, and I said, if it goes and it works, great. If not, I'm interviewing for jobs. I'm going out into the real world again. We'll see what happens. And within like 20 hours, the video had like 40,000 viewers or something insane. Good. I had like 800 people subscribe on YouTube. YouTube reached out. They're like, we want to partner you. And I was just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, what? And then I made another video, and that video was on Blight stuff because it was the only thing I knew really well at the time. Because doing the whole single dad thing and raising my son, and my son was like a year or so old. I needed something that I can like play while he was like, well, you're holding a baby who's sleeping, right? So like Blight was perfect. And I made a video on like Blight stuff because I was like, oh, maybe there's other dads out there that could use a thing like this. And it, once again, 20, 30,000 views overnight. And I was just like, maybe this is a thing. And then I went from like 4 viewer streams to like averaging like 100 CCV. And, sometimes a little bit higher depending on when the league starts, sometimes a little bit lower during downtime. But yeah, pretty much the same story.
Damn. Yeah. What about you, Spook? How'd you get into this?
I just love games. Yeah. Just a dude. Actually, we'll make this long story short, just because I know we're at that time. And I still have I still have 2 more things I'd like to discuss before we close. But long story short,
yeah, we could do that.
I was in a dark time, I guess you could say. Just dealing with a lot of stuff in the background. So I have a full-time job. I'm a parent. I'm a husband. Not much time. I happened to play. It was Diablo 4. I was invited to it was like the pre-alpha to Diablo 4. So I got on that. I played the druid. I was like hooked. I'm a big Diablo fan, anyways. But anyways, D4 launch. I was playing D4. I was just playing. I had streamed a few years before. I streamed a lot of Apex with my wife. I met this person that could be described as probably the most energetic streamer on Twitch. And most people, when I say that, people already know who I'm talking about. And so I found him because he was doing a build that I wanted to do. So I found him, I hung out for a little while, and then I just got hooked. You know, it was like soaking some of that high energy, positive vibes. And so I was just...
I was Travic.
No, not me.
So I was hooked. His name's Barricade, by the way.
Barricade. Oh, he's great.
Great, yeah.
So I've been a part of his community, and with his positivity, he basically lasso roped my ass out of this dark hole that I was in. I've been much better since then, as far as like positive, good energy, and being part of that community. Just I was like, you know what, I want to start streaming again. So I started streaming again. I started working on content. I started this podcast, and I'm not. I think the reason that I'm doing what I do is because I enjoy what I'm doing, and I like doing what both of you are doing. I'm not at the level, so I'm kind of just the middleman, and I get to enjoy from the experiences, learning from you guys, like people like you, where you guys take these things in the game and you make it accessible to people like me. I don't have the time to sit down and study the passive tree for 4 hours to figure out this is the best way to go. This is the best route to go. Yeah. I just don't have the time for it. It's not impossible for me. I could do it. I just don't have the time. And what little time I do have, you know, I don't, no offense to you guys. Like I said, I love what you guys do, but I don't have the patience to want to take the time to learn when I do have that little bit of free time. So I found out that there's a lot of people out there that are just like that. So I do envelop myself around other people like Travic. I've learned everything that I've learned from Travic. I've basically just catered it down to more people like Travic, or like Travic's tailoring his content too, or you know, I take that information and I disseminate it to the people while just having fun, hanging out, and creating a community that is like-minded, positive, high energy, just having a good time, bringing people together. I'm trying to essentially make gaming what it used to be. You know, it's having fun, hanging out with people that you want to. And
that's awesome, yeah.
And I've been having a blast. And when I first started streaming several years ago, it was like, all right, I could probably do this and make money. Yeah, well, if you go into it with that mentality, you notice a lot of people can see that, and it's there. So I shifted my mentality, and I'm not doing too bad. I mean, I'm not making, you know, a living, but I'm definitely making enough money to cover the extra things that I would like to do, whether it's, you know, get that new game that's coming out next month, or, you know, take my daughter out to the movies, because before I couldn't really, you know, tight budget.
Yeah. So, and also it's like, you're like, in a way, like what Travic was saying at the beginning, or maybe before we started, was just that, like, yeah, you're making like $10 an hour doing something, but it's like, you're going to be doing it anyways. Like, this is something you enjoy. So it's like, you're making money doing something that you'd be doing for free, like that you would actually be paying other people to do. You know what I mean? That is kind of a dream on its own end. Yeah, that's totally relatable.
So yeah. So my famous, it's not famous yet, but maybe famous someday, quote that I like to say is, I'm just a dude trying to make the internet a better place.
Nice. I like that.
So I totally lost my train of thought as to the second topic I was going to ask you about, but we like to ask the guest one question we typically ask every episode is that if you had to choose one game out of all the games that's ever existed, whether it was in your childhood, whether it's a current game now or whether it's a game you played in the past, because games change and evolve over the years, right? Like Diablo 2 is just not, it's not as good now as it was then, right? Because as games become more popular and different mechanics and new innovative things are being brought to games, you know, Diablo 2 will be a timeless forever, right? It's one of the greatest games. We hands down agree. It's one of those epic games that was ahead of its time, right?
Yeah, for sure.
So with that being said, if you had to choose one game, what game would that be and why?
That's a fucking, you asked this to everyone? Like, that's a tough question, man. What the?
And we get the same
What
response.
the hell? What the hell, man?
It is. It's hard.
That's like, okay.
There's got to be one that stands out. Like, and it doesn't have to be a game you're playing now either, you know, and it can be in whatever state. Cause like there's MMOs that were absolutely phenomenal during their peak performance, but now it's like, yeah, I would never go play that MMO right now.
Okay. Like the cringe answer that I could give you is just like Path of Exile 2. I love this game, man. I love this game. I could play this game every single day for the rest of my life and be happy. But I think the better answer I think that I could give you, or like, I don't know, maybe like the less, but it's hard to say because like PoE 2 is also like my job, so it's like, you know, there is that benefit. But
is it a job? Is it a job though?
That's true.
It's like I've always been told, you know, if you love what you do, it's not really a job.
For sure. I'm just saying, like, do have some biases with PoE 2, but like I think to answer like the spirit of your question, it would be League of Legends back when I was in high school, because me and my friends, like, we would get together literally every weekend and do a LAN, and like it'd be like 5 of us, and it's just like that's probably like the best memories. Like I think I had a pretty like diverse life as a kid, like not as diverse as Travic. Like I mean, this motherfucker. I mean, you can't get into some of the shit that he's seen and he's done. Like compared to him, like I've lived a very like vanilla life. Okay, but I mean to say like in high school, like I played sports. Like I really enjoyed sports and like competition, like that kind of stuff. But I was also like a huge nerd, and I would say the fondest memories of my time in high school, college, that kind of stuff wasn't like going to parties or shit. It was like playing League 5 mans with the boys. You know what I mean? That was just the best. It was toxic as fuck. We would be like flaming each other. We'd be flaming the enemy team. Like we were not good people. Like, we were not good people, man. But it was just like, I mean, I played with my friends like last night for the first time in a few months. And it was just like the same thing. It's like for some reason that game, like we get in there and it's just like we play the game and it's just like it makes sense, you know. It makes sense. And also like we were different people. Like even now we're different people. Nope. Like in a world like there's a world where like if League of Legends didn't exist, like we wouldn't be friends. Yep. But like for some reason, like it just when we're playing League together, it's like I'm a bad person. Like some of my friends are like really good people. Like I think like really fucked up shit is hilarious, and I make some like fucked up jokes. But like I have other friends who are like just good people who like you'll say like something that's hilarious but fucked up, and they just won't get it at all. But like for some reason, like when we're playing League together, like it makes sense. Like our personalities probably don't mesh, but like when we're together gaming, it works.
I get that. That's one of the reasons I came off of first-person shooters. That's like I didn't want to be that toxic person anymore. I love first-person shooters, but the moment I turn that first-person shooter on, I'm just like, all right, you suck. All right, you need to go do over here. You're better on the tank. Switch to the damn tank. You're not DPS anymore. You're 0 for 4. Get your ass back on tank.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that's probably like in essence, like I think it just holds that place in my heart where it's just like all
that's awesome.
Like all
yeah, no, that's awesome, and that's wholesome. I love that answer. I loved League of Legends. I was the dude that sucked at the game, but yeah, I always loved it. I love to watch the people play at the highest levels because I never could.
Yeah.
It's so awesome to just see some of those like ganks 2v1s that come out of nowhere, somebody in the bushes.
Yeah.
It's an awesome game to watch.
Travic was probably like challenger player while playing Blight and feeding his kid.
I have really good League of Legends stories that every time I tell them, people don't believe. Like I was really good friends with Aframu. We played together. I was really good friends.
Really?
Yeah, like I was good friends with a couple other pros, and we were all on the same team at one point. I was at IEM New York when Phantom Lord ran down mid. I was friends with Phantom Lord for a long time. We were like Skype buddies. We would like hang out and talk all the time. And I was around when he originally pitched the idea for the CS:GO stuff, and I bailed on that. Yeah, I have old League stories.
Damn.
Yeah. I live the
Travic
life,
has seen
man.
it all, chat. In case you didn't know, Travic, you should ask Travic in his stream sometime. He's seen it all. He's experienced life in every shape of every form.
You know, I tell these stories, and 90% of the time people don't believe me. And it's like I just laugh a little because like I know the life that I've lived, and I've known the stuff that I've lived through. And I never expect anybody ever to believe any of my stories because they're so wild. But yeah, dude, I've had a life, man.
Nice.
The wildest League story I have is what's that guy's name? The super top Hashinchin. I solo killed Hashinchin in one of my games, and he raged on stream. That's my best League story.
That's cool.
Hey, you know, that's cool. All right, yeah. Well, it was a topic. Definitely an awesome chat. Thanks for giving us the pleasure of having you as a guest star on an episode of Loot Farming and Gossip.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me. It's been a lot of fun. I learned some stuff that about the game, about you as people, about what I'm missing in my life.
Oh, I missed much.
So with that
thank you guys
being
for having me.
Yeah, absolutely, dude. It's been a pleasure. These talks are always so awesome to get inside the head and kind of a little bit of the backstory of people that you ordinarily wouldn't get that chance to, you know, because you have the things that you got to do. You know, you stay true to your lane, like you said. It's a job. You do what you got to do. You don't always get the time to kind of just dive into your brain and kind of pick your brain for a few questions or the kind of, you know, all that good stuff. So it was really good. I appreciate you. Thank you for taking the time to spend it here with us. But for any of our viewers or people that are hanging out and would like to know or check you out, where can our viewers and friends find the farmer?
Yeah, I stream on Twitch like every day, and I also make YouTube videos. I can send you a link to both channels, and you can put that. I don't know how. I've actually never done anything podcast related, so I imagine there's like a description somewhere where you can click links or whatever.
So in the podcast side of things, all they really get is just
Words.
the episode. They just get words.
Oh, okay.
But for
All right.
the YouTube side of it,
Yeah.
there will be a description, and we will have your links and stuff. But
Sure.
go ahead and tell people your name as far as your online name.
Yeah, I got a cringe gamer tag from it's like an Xbox Live tag. It's XtheFarmerX on Twitch, and it's like I think XtheFarmerX PoE2 _ PoE2 on YouTube. If you just look at XtheFarmerX on YouTube, you'll be able to find me. I do a lot of like guides on like crafting and like profit trading, like hideout warrior shit. And I do like a lot of like zero to mirror challenges where like, you know, I start as like from broke to like how I would build up all my currency, that kind of stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I suck though, so don't watch my videos or anything like that.
Oh Jesus.
Hey, I've watched some of your content, and I know that's a lie. You're being very humble, but we appreciate it. Good people, man. Good people. Anything you'd like to add to the end there, Travic?
I'm just glad we did it, man. I thought, you know, you were one of the people that a lot of people were like, oh my God, can we talk to him? And I was like, yeah, we'll talk to him. I'm, you know, really glad that you were like willing to do it. And I think it was a lot of fun, man. I had a good time.
Likewise. Awesome.
Hey, man.
Hell yeah. All right. Well, that concludes this episode of Loot Farming and Gossip, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye.
Adios.
Awesome.
Static buzz in the midnight air. Travic and Spooker in the gamer's lair. Loot drops falling like a neon rain. Pixel worlds driving us insane. Halo rings light up the fight. Sonic speed blurs through the night. Diablo's demons in the dungeon's bright. grinding bones, legends born in gaming zones, quests that stretch beyond the frame. In this podcast we name the game. Controllers on the heartbeat song, Spooker's laugh keeps the vibe strong. Travic's words cut through the noise, gaming tales from girls and boys. The farming gossip in the glow, digital whispers in the flow. EverQuest dreams keep us alive, dead by daylight screams collide. Controllers on the heartbeat song, Spooker's laugh keeps the vibe strong. Travic's words cut through the noise, gaming tales from girls and boys.